Everybody, welcome back to the page. I just want to hop on here real quick, kind of make a short video, because the Caster Semenya situation has been resolved for now. So, for those of you who are unaware of what's been going on, Caster Semenya is a biological woman. However, she was born with naturally high levels of recurring testosterone. She's been kind of used as a test example for athletes born with this condition because there have been other cases, but Semenya has been kind of singled out. And I'll get to that in a second because I have two differing opinions on this with what's been going on. Because I feel for Caster Semenya just because how she's been treated throughout this whole process. But anyway, so she filed after the initial IAAF ruling that she would have to lower her testosterone levels to 5 nanomoles per liter. I don't know what it usually is. It's usually a lot higher than that. Typically in elite female athletes, the threshold of testosterone is 0.7 to 1.2 nanomoles per liter. So they're telling her that she needs to be at 5 nanomoles per liter in order for her to compete. Think of it like the biological passport, that it has to be at that kind of level for her to be eligible for competitions. And not just her, but all female athletes. And it's tough. It's this whole thing. But anyway, Caster then filed a protest towards the Court of Arbitration of Sport. However, they postponed the ruling in the fall to have some more research. The research has been questioned on if it is entirely scientifically accurate. I know Ross Tucker had some issues with it. Ross Tucker runs the Science of Sport website. However, I think it's a good starting point. I think from here we can perhaps investigate it more, research it more. I just hope they don't stop here, because if they stop here, there's a lot of questions I still have for it. So the Court of Arbitration of Sport came out yesterday saying that they are going to uphold IAAF's initial decision and have rejected Semenya's proposal. So that puts us back at square one, right? And I think from a sporting perspective, I'm cool with this. From a sporting perspective, I agree that in order to encourage fair sport, because that's what we're all about, right? Encouraging fair sport. That's why we have the stringent anti-doping laws we have. That's why we want a clean sport. We want fair sport. I think on that perspective, I agree with it, because when we're talking testosterone levels, like that is the one thing that makes a direct correlation towards athletic performance. Aerobic capacity, height, metabolic rate, those things don't have a direct correlation with athletic performance. Now, you could argue aerobic capacity, but you still have to work hard for that. And Caster Semenya still has to work hard, and she has dominated the sport, and she's an amazing competitor. However, to say that she doesn't have a distinct advantage over the rest of her female competitors would be thinking too idealistic, because bottom line is she is a female and she is a female competitor, but compared to the rest of her field, she is an outlier as far as that is concerned. So while from a competitive sport perspective, I am on board, because when you look at everyone else who she's competing against, her levels are so much higher than everyone else's. She's being asked to lower it to 5, and everyone else's baseline is going to be at 1.2 or what have you. I think with this, we also need to be more stringent on doping protocols and our anti-doping enforcement. I mean, look at Aji Wilson last year, got away with it because she said her meat was tainted. And I'm not sure I believe that necessarily. So I think more questions have to be asked then if we're going to be asking Caster Semenya to lower her testosterone levels. We need to be more stringent with what we're already doing. Now, from a human perspective, I'm a little bit upset with how this whole process has gone down. Since Caster Semenya's emergence onto the scene in 2010, 2011, she has been treated like an outcast, basically, because of how she was born. And it's not her fault that she was born with higher testosterone levels. And the fact that she's been called a man, the fact that she's been subjected to a lot of dehumanizing behavior. The fact that after she won gold in 2011, she was subjected to basically a sex test to make sure she was actually a woman. Yeah, I really feel for her because there's nothing that she could do about the way that she was born. And she's been treated as this kind of like sideshow circus animal because of her testosterone levels. And I do not agree with it. And then today, a lot of stuff will come out and people will be talking about it in non-nuanced ways. And I think people even say that I'm talking about it in a non-nuanced way. But I tend to look at this from that sporting perspective first, and then from the more kind of broad human rights perspective, which I do 100% feel for. And I think that in the future with athletes like Caster, we need to be much, much better with how we approach the topic. And everyone needs to be more trained and needs to be more familiar with what is actually going on. And I myself probably need to be more aware and more trained with what is actually going on with an athlete like Caster. But the bottom line is, I think right now this is the right call. However, we can't stop here. We have to investigate further. We have to research further, and we have to do better with policing the sport as it is right now. So that's kind of my initial thoughts. Down below, I'll post Chris Chavis's SI article about it, just because that is the most information that I found so far. And, we can kind of go from there. So anyway, guys, I hope this video is informative about what is happening. Comment below with how you feel about it. If you are on board with this decision, if you think that it is absolutely ridiculous, if you think that my response to it is not nuanced at all, I will gladly take that in stride. But I want to hear your opinion because I really don't know how the rest of the kind of track and field community feels about this, at least, outside of my circle. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe. Anyway, guys, hope you're enjoying the rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.